right. Hey, Sonya, Dr. Sonya Crawford, how are you?
Good afternoon, Renee. Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's so good to see you.
You too.
Thank you and welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your super busy schedule. I'm so happy to have you on the show today. And we're going to be talking about a great topic, detoxifying the body. Anyway, before we get started, this is Coach Renee, your holistic health and wellness strategist. I bring to you every single week strategies on how you can create healthy habits with your mind, body, and soul. And today, I'm so excited because I have a super special guest who is a friend of mine. We actually went to nutrition school together way back when, and I have today Dr. Sonya Crawford, and I have to get used to calling her Dr. Ann Crawford because when I knew Sonya, she was married. And so
Yeah.
right now, so Dr. Sonya Crawford, welcome.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here. Thank you again for inviting me.
You're so welcome. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Dr. Crawford, and then I will let her take over. But if you're new to my channel, once again, welcome. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Also, click on the notification bell so you'll be notified when new videos have been released. And we'll put the show notes and everything in the description box below. So after this segment, you will go and see everything down below. All right, so let me give you a little bit of background about Dr. Sonya. And I'm excited because this is actually our first episode on this. So Dr. Sonya, she is, we met actually back in 2001 at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. It seemed like so long ago, where she and I both earned our certifications in nutrition. And we remained good friends after that, and here we are today. So, however, Dr. Sonya went on to obtain multiple certification and degrees. She is the registered dietitian and a certified health coach. She also has a Master of Science in Health Promotion Management with a concentration in alternative medicine. And most recent, I want to once again congratulate her on she have obtained her doctorate degree in clinical nutrition. And if I correct me anywhere that I may have misstated anything, please.
I'll just say one thing. I think we met in 2010. I don't think I'm that. We don't want to make ourselves that old.
Oh, 2010?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
It has been a long time. It hasn't been that long.
A long time. My gosh.
Yeah.
And here we are in 2023.
I know. Time flies.
Wow. You didn't age a bit.
You either. Good nutrition.
That's what that nutrition is all about. Let's tell them.
Yes.
Let's tell our folks, our viewers, let's tell them that nutrition is so important. Dr. Crawford also holds roles in the federal space, working on projects and initiatives such as the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program, which helps to support the child nutrition programs, making sure, the kids and our grandkids are eating the proper nutrition and that they need in their daily lives. Dr. Sonya, you'll hear me say Dr. Sonya or Dr. Crawford, or, so interchangeably, I'll be going back and forth, but because I'm getting used to this. But Dr. Sonya's focus right now is on helping Christian women who are dealing with autoimmune diseases. She's trying to help them adopt nutritional and lifestyle changes that will support their symptom reduction. More specifically with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. rheumatoid arthritis and Sjogren syndrome.
Sjogren syndrome. I know it's a weird spelling.
How you pronounce it?
Sjogren syndrome. I think it's spelled differently than it's pronounced.
Right. Okay. Sjogren syndrome. So she has 3 areas that she works with Christian women, trying to help them with these autoimmune diseases, trying to help them get them under bay, out of sight, out of mind. Anytime you hear the or see itis at the end, it's inflammation. So inflammation of the thyroid, inflammation of the joints and tissues, and Sjogren's syndrome is dry eyes and dry mouth. But I will let Dr. Sonya go further into detail as we go through this. So we are going to be talking today about detoxifying the body, which is so important. And I'm not going to hold up this show any longer. And I'm going to allow Dr. Crawford to go into telling us what exactly is detoxification.
Well, thank you so much again for having me, Renee. So yeah, I think it's definitely good for us to kind of let that groundwork kind of be, or that framework kind of be the focus, because I think there's so many different perspectives on what is detoxification. You have different products, even down to skincare products that even say that they can help you to detox. But so I'll kind of just give a couple quick different definitions then. So the CDC actually does have a definition for detoxification, and it's the process of removing a poison or toxin or the effect of either from an area or an individual. So toxins can be in our environment and also can be within us. And then also the Institute for Functional Medicine has another definition, which is the body's physiologic process of rendering chemicals, compounds, hormones, and intoxicants less harmful. So the benefit of why we want to detoxify is because it actually can help protect our body from adverse effects and external and internal toxins. So definitely, there are some things out there that have specific claims on them, but I just wanted to give again the actual definitions, and we can kind of go into more on exactly what the process of detoxification looks like.
Okay. I want to back up for a moment and ask you, what led you into nutrition school? What led you into all these different certifications? I want the listeners and the viewers to understand why you do what you do, why I do what I do, and because I think that's important for them to understand that as well.
Thanks. Yeah. Let's see. So I will say I was a very chubby kid. Didn't know anything about nutrition, but I do remember praying to God and just saying, Lord, I want to grow up and learn about nutrition so I can help myself and help other people. I don't know, I guess God kind of aligns things in certain ways. I got a scholarship to for my undergraduate in nutrition, and that's through a program that I worked with in the USDA. And so that definitely laid the groundwork in terms of getting me the basic information related to nutrition and nutrients, and how to, help people in terms of losing weight and things of that nature. Once I finished my undergraduate, I then did go ahead and become a dietitian to make it official. But I started to kind of experience some of my own health challenges. So we were talking a little bit about Sjogren syndrome earlier. I noticed that my eyes were getting dry and my skin was dry. I was like, what's going on? I didn't have, really in-depth symptoms, but those were still pretty annoying because my eyes really, really were bothering me at the time, and just didn't know what that could be from, and went to the doctor and was told, okay, after lab testing, you have Sjogren syndrome. Went to the rheumatologist and basically was told, okay, you can start steroids now. Needless to say, I did not want to pursue that at all. I kind of heard some rumblings from other people about, natural things to, change processes in our body. So I wanted to kind of, really delve into that. I did a lot of reading and research, and went to get my master's, and so I was able to minor in alternative medicine, as you mentioned. So that kind of, it just continued to snowball for me in terms of wanting to know more information. I began to see functional medicine practitioners and really find some ways to help myself naturally. And one of the biggest ways was nutrition. Just by finding out, what food sensitivities and allergies I was having, also just changing my diet to remove a lot of the processed foods that, some nutritionists do, kind of feel that all foods fit. But the thing is that our bodies have a balance. And so, especially with inflammatory fats and versus anti-inflammatory fats, that was one thing that I really, really benefited from changing, among other things, including detoxification as well. So yeah, I think from there, I just continued to want to know more and want to be able to help others more. And that's kind of what led me down the path of getting the doctorate. So kind of a long story, but just to say that I'm passionate about nutrition and health and want to help others.
Awesome. And I think when we were in school together, we learned about the importance of bioindividuality, which means that no two people are alike. So
Correct.
If this person, they may have the same illness or disease, but they may need to both be treated differently. So it's very important, that bioindividuality, meaning
definitely.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing. And I too, got into this space because I was having my own health challenges, and I didn't at the time, saw 3 different doctors, and each one of them wanted me to have some sort of surgery to remove my fibroid. And I wholeheartedly believe in the body's ability to heal naturally. So for that reason, I started to do my own research and ended up in nutrition school. So here I am today, no surgery, thank God, and doing very well. So it's based on, again, goes back to that nutrition. What are we doing in our daily habits? What type of habits, healthy habits, are we doing or not doing? And so all of that is important and to keep in mind. So great, thank you for sharing that. So the detoxification. So did you want to go in a little deeper about what detoxification is and how the process starts? What is it dealing with foods? Do we need to have liquids or is it supplements? Excuse me, what is it that we need to do to begin the detox process?
Yeah, so well, really quickly, I'll just kind of give a little bit more background in terms of because people don't necessarily know why, detoxification is important. I did mention just a little bit earlier, but I will say as well that toxic overload can actually lead to so many different types of conditions. We talked a little bit about autoimmune conditions. That's one of the factors that can contribute. Also, certain cancers, depression and low energy levels, behavioral issues and mood challenges, fatigue, even type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome, obesity, fibromyalgia, and lots of other conditions as well. So when we talk about these things, it's not just because we want to be healthy and detox. That's one of the great reasons, but also people who are suffering from these conditions or who want to prevent them should keep this in mind. And I'll just talk a little bit as well, because, we don't even know what are sources of toxins. So some sources of toxins could be, things that you wouldn't even think of. It could be anywhere from your toothpaste or your household cleaning products. Obviously, it's great to go outside, but there's toxins that we encounter outside as well. Also in the foods and beverages that we consume. So even sometimes when you're trying your hardest, you still are going to get some level of toxic exposure. And so I think the main thing is, we want to try to decrease some of these, some of the different factors or sources that we experience every day. So looking for more natural products like lotions, soaps and things like that, toothpaste that doesn't have a lot of the additives. And in that way, once we kind of decrease those items, including our organic foods, things like that, it lowers the toxic burden on our bodies, and then we still want to regularly detoxify. So I will say, so there's actually again, another misconception is detoxification is just one process. It's one thing.
Mhm.
So when we do lose weight, or when we do things to help us lose weight, or excrete through our urine or our feces, or even through sweating, those do help us to eliminate, but the process of detoxification is a little bit more, or kind of a lot more complex than that. So there's actually two main phases that most people really don't know about, and that's detoxification phase 1 and phase 2. And I'll actually send you, there's a graphic that kind of depicts it a little bit better. I'll send it to you, Renee, but just so that people can kind of see exactly what the breakdown is. But ultimately with phase 1, the idea is that the body is going to take that toxin and then break it down into something that's water soluble. The issue is that a lot of us really do not have a problem with detox phase 1. People can drink coffee, that helps with detoxification phase 1, or just other sources of caffeine, or the other items that I mentioned in terms of excretion. However, there's actually a specific process with phase 2. So with phase 1, you can be making those metabolites more harmful or more toxic to the body. So for example, if we look at something like estrogen, estrogen is a great, hormone, and we all need estrogen. But when we don't detoxify it properly, and it stays with detoxification phase 1, and we don't support phase 2, it can then go into a vicious cycle of, recycling through the body and or going into a more toxic form. And that actually will contribute to certain conditions such as, cancers, like uterine cancer, breast cancer, things like that. So we don't definitely want to have that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I'm sorry. So that goes in line with, what I try to educate the viewers on. You have to treat the mind, body, and the soul, as opposed to just your body, right? You have to nourish your mind with good thoughts and good foods, as well as the body and your soul. So what you're talking about here, phase 1 and phase 2, goes right in line with that. So go ahead. I just wanted to stop.
Oh yeah.
And say that about that.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's a great point. And definitely the mind and the other aspects contribute to detoxification as well, because when we're stressed, we don't our body's energy supplies are more so going toward producing adrenaline and stress hormones. They're not worried about hormone balance or detoxification. So that's definitely hugely important. So then just to quickly say, so phase 1 has specific nutrients that are beneficial to help support it. That's going to be our citrus fruits, herbs such as milk thistle, dill, caraway. Those are really helpful. Any type of cruciferous vegetables. I know those aren't people's favorites, but we definitely need those to make sure that we are supporting phase 1 detoxification. So anything like your Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, collard greens, kale, the very, robust greens that we all know and love. Those are the ones that you want to try to incorporate as much as possible. Lots of people have issues with those raw, so definitely you can cook them as well. B vitamins are also involved in this phase. So B12, B6, B2, and B3. Also folate, minerals like magnesium, iron, copper, and zinc. And then there's other flavonoids and things like that involved as well. But yeah, so just wanted to, reiterate that it's not just, a quick phase that happens without anything that goes into it. We actually need nutrients that support each phase of detoxification.
Absolutely. This is so good, so important. I know that there's so many more vegetables, green vegetables. Is Swiss chard, spinach also good in that phase 1?
So Swiss chard is going to be one of, like I said, the robust leafy greens. Spinach is still great. It's just not considered a cruciferous vegetable.
Okay, so we're talking.
So yeah, still great to consume, spinach and even romaine and things like that. The lettuces that have, not the iceberg, but the other lettuces that have more nutrients.
Not the
Those are still great.
Yes, it needs to be vitamin nutrient dense. Yeah. So
right.
Cruciferous is very important. listeners, make sure that you understand the difference between cruciferous vegetables and what was the other name? How did you say the other name?
There's other leafy green vegetables, like you mentioned, spinach, romaine, even what is it? Like butter lettuce. That's still a leafy green vegetable. It's not bad for you, and even iceberg isn't bad for you, but some of the others just have more nutrients.
Yeah.
But when we have the cruciferous, those really are what support the detoxification.
Yeah, like our vitamin K, we need vitamin K and all those. Okay, awesome. Keep going. Awesome. This is so good.
All right, great. So then phase 2, like I said, this is where a lot of people have a problem. Some, it might be genetics wise, but then in other ways, it's just because we're not supporting the detoxification phase. And as I mentioned previously, with detox phase 2, it is very, very important because some of the molecules can become more toxic or more harmful, create reactive oxygen species and things like that, where it can cause tissue damage. So supporting detox phase 2 is really, really important.
Wow.
But that's basically going to convert that more toxic compound into something that's water soluble that can then be excreted.
Wow.
And so I'll give you the nutrients to support phase 2 as well. So sulfur is one of those. Also folate again. Amino acids are really important here. So especially if someone's like a vegetarian or a vegan, to make sure that they are getting those essential amino acids. There's certain ones that are really hard to get without consuming some type of animal protein, but glycine, taurine, methionine, cysteine, those are the main ones that are involved in detoxification phase 2.
Okay.
Milk thistle shows up again here. That one's a great herb just for helping detoxify the liver in general.
Yeah.
Lots of people use milk thistle teas on a regular basis to just help them kind of support detoxification all the time. And then glutathione is another one that really helps support that process as well. And without getting too sciencey, again, it's making sure that you have a balanced diet and you're supporting all of those specific nutrients.
Right. This is so good. So that's phase 2 detoxification. I'm you're taking notes.
And then I'll just say a little bit, phase 3, there's some people call phase 3 out specifically, but it's really just the excretion. So you want to make sure you have lots of fiber and water in your diet as well, because those are the things that move everything through. So once you've got the toxins to where they're no longer toxic, we still want to make sure we're moving them out of the system appropriately. Yeah, and
you said that was in all the phases, the water, what was the other one you said? Water?
Fiber. Well, they're great for all the phases, but definitely for phase 3, that supports the excretion through feces and kidneys.
Okay, so this is water and the fiber. Okay, I wanted to back up for a minute. It was something in phase 2 that you mentioned. Oh, okay, when you were talking about the vegans, the vegetarians, and I call them flexitarians, which eat meat and everything. So it's very important. The listeners need to understand that it's super important that you understand the difference between, whether you're vegan or vegetarian or, flexitarian, which eats meat, and vegetarians sometimes eat meats too, mainly from the sea, right?
Well, usually if a person just eats fish and no other animal protein, that's a pescatarian, but yes, similar.
Okay, so and I know this is probably a totally different topic, but we're not going to really go into this because it's a totally different topic, but I'll just leave it there. So yeah, so if you're vegan or vegetarian, you want to make sure that you are under the care of someone who really, really understands these diets, because you could be doing yourself a disfavor, injustice for your body, and really cause yourself some serious problems. So make sure that you have a professional, whether it's a professional with what's the
I
name?
mean, it would be great if they could work with a functional medicine
Functional medicine.
practitioner
There you
or
go.
a functional nutritionist or a health coach,
Yes,
someone who
or
can
health coach.
really analyze their.
What, yeah, one of us, a functional nutritionist, or somebody that really understands the diet, because you don't want to go down a road that you didn't want to see. All right, I just wanted to drop that in so the listeners, the viewers can understand that it's important to know the difference between the diets. All right. Okay, so phase 3, water, fiber.
Yep, those are the main two things you need for phase 3, because those help excrete and pull out the toxins from our body.
Push out those toxins. Now that you've eaten all these nutrient dense veggies, and you got your amino acids and all these things. Now you want to make sure you push these things out of your body so you can get rid of these toxins. And now, guess what? You're going to feel more energy. Your pain will start to go away. All these things that you've been, this chronic pain, this chronic joint pain, these chronic diseases that you've been suffering with for so many years, you may see them start to disappear. We're not making any promises here or claiming anything, but what we are saying is to start by getting rid of these toxins that's been in your system for perhaps 5, 10, 20 years, right? From even medication.
Or more.
Right, yeah, or more. And I didn't hear you mention medication, but we can get toxins from some medication.
Yeah.
Right. So we just want to, so this is super good. All right. So that was.
Renee, I'm sorry. If it's okay, really, really quickly, I forgot to give a quick disclaimer. I'm not representing the views of, any government agency, but also I don't want to make people feel as though the regular doctor is not beneficial. Right. I do think there is a place, and sometimes we, have to go to medication if, there's a dire issue or what have you. I don't want to make people think that they should just go out on a limb and go on their own and, not consult a health professional. But definitely, if you have to get on medication for something that's a life-threatening condition, do that, but then try to work with someone, like I said, myself, Renee, or a functional medicine doctor who can actually help you to either wean off of that medication or address your symptoms in other ways. So just wanted to give that disclaimer.
Absolutely. Well. Yes, we are not here to tell you to get off of any medications. Before you do anything that we are discussing here, please see your doctor before you do anything, before you start any diets, before you do any detoxification. All we're doing simply here is giving you information as to why you might be in so much pain, or what you can start doing to get these toxins out. Because again, like Dr. Crawford said, we ingest toxins on a daily basis from the environment, from the foods, the water that we drink, from the stress that we either cause or someone cause on our bodies. And believe it or not, stress, the old saying goes, stress is #1 killer. And it is. Why? Because we are consuming so much in our mind, and from our day-to-day activities, from whatever it is, we have stress coming from every direction. On top of that, we got the environmental toxins. We have toxins from from the products that we use in our homes, the products that we use on our body, chemicals. So we have to minimize or eliminate these chemicals that we're using in our homes, on our body, and be careful with the foods. If you can, go organic with your vegetables. If you have to do meat, make sure that your meat is organic and it's sourced from a good place. If you can't do organic, please try to go to your local, get vegetables from your local farmer or a local store, as opposed to, so this is all we're trying to help you understand, is that what we do on a daily basis is wreaking havoc on our internal body and causing these pain, this pain and this chronic suffering that we're having. So, all right. So disclaimer, once again, We're not medical professionals. We're not medical doctors. We are not here to diagnose, treat, or tell you to get off any medications. Please seek help from your doctor first before you decide to do anything that we are sharing with you today. All right? Clear? All clear. All right. So we talked about what detoxification is, why detoxification is important, because our bodies are fumed with toxins every single day. From the paint on our walls to the sheets and the mattresses that we sleep on.
Mm-hmm.
We're bombarded with toxins, and we should be doing something every single day to detoxify our bodies, our minds, our bodies, and our souls, right? That is my motto. I'm here to help you cleanse your mind, body, and soul. That's what we're here to do. All right. So we got through that part. So what health issues are associated with toxic overload? Mainly, Dr. Crawford.
Wow. Yeah. I know I touched on a few earlier. I think so even just as simple like fatigue, lack of energy, but all the way up to cancers, type 2 diabetes. I know metabolic syndrome, even Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, other types of like behavioral issues or mood issues, allergies, also cardiovascular disease. I mean, the list goes on and on. I could, probably even pull out a lot more. But another one that a lot of people really aren't aware of is the issues with infertility or other types of hormonal or endocrine issues. A lot of that is because we have xenoestrogens, which are fake estrogens that are coming to us in the way of plastics or other types of toxins. And so definitely, if you have issues with infertility or things like that, that's a great one to really look at is, how many toxins are in your environment and how you can reduce that. But yeah, those are the main ones. I can keep going if you want and find some more, but those are the main ones.
Wow. And so I'm sure what you just stated, and even earlier, somebody that's listening to this broadcast right now is suffering from one of these. And so what would you tell that listener to start? Phase 1. So when they start phase 1, which they have to make sure that they're eating cruciferous vegetables,
yes,
that they're getting plenty of B vitamins. Now, when you say the B vitamins, can they only get those from their cruciferous vegetables, or are you suggesting that a supplementation, that they see their doctor and get supplementation?
You can do, I would recommend a high quality supplement. But yeah, definitely, especially there are folks who are deficient in B vitamins. And so you would need to find, some additional support. Definitely the diet needs to be the first line of defense, and then also supporting with any supplements. But yeah, lots of people are deficient, so they just have to start with supplements in addition to the diet.
Right. Now, I know that there's like two sides of I don't know if this is the right term to say, but two phases of the B vitamins, like B12, because someone that's deficient in B vitamins may not need B12. Is that correct?
Correct. Well, so first of all, B vitamins are generally, they're water soluble. So you can't really take too much of them per se, but definitely you can always get an assessment from your physician. That's the best thing to do, is to make sure that you are tested for your actual values of any specific vitamin and or mineral deficiencies before you actually go and do supplementation. Just getting a high quality multivitamin is going to support you with lots of B vitamins, and that's something that you can do on your own as well. That's not going to hurt you. So that can actually support you, with detoxification. If you're not on a multivitamin already, that's a good idea. I wouldn't say just go to the CVS, or I don't mean to call out any specific manufacturers, but don't just go to your local store and get one. Go to the health food store, or work with a functional medicine doctor or health coach or nutritionist to get one of high quality value for you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, just for sharing that with someone a few days ago. Now, I heard or I've talked or listened to a few of, the coach healthy gurus, right, talk about multivitamins. Now, multivitamins, you and I both know, have iron, vitamin C, vitamin B, vitamin D. And if someone has an overload, and I don't know the right term for it, of vitamin C, that might not work for them, right? This multivitamin may not work for them.
Well, so vitamin C is also water soluble. If you're taking huge amounts of vitamin C, yes, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that unless you've been tested and it was deemed necessary that you do that. But usually what's in a multivitamin is not going to get you toxic levels. So yeah, I wouldn't, especially most Americans were consuming what you've probably heard of as well. I know we learned it in IIN, the SAD diet, so the Standard
Yeah.
American Diet,
Yeah.
right? And we're all devoid of nutrients. So usually having a high quality multivitamin is only going to help you. It's not going to give you toxic levels. Now, when you go and take additional things on top of that and you haven't been assessed to see if you actually needed that specific item, then that's when you usually run into problems.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for clearing that. I just wanted that clarification for the viewers, the listeners, so they can understand, because so many are confused. What vitamin should I take, or where should I get it, or how do I know I'm deficient? And oftentimes I share with them that have your doctor test you for this, test you for that, because sometimes when you go to the conventional doctors, they don't know to test you for specific things, like for your hormones or this or that, unless you let them know. And that's why I like to share with my audience is take back control of your health and well-being. Start understanding and recognizing where your issues, your challenges, your health challenges have started, whether they originate, when do you notice them, and then therefore you can tell your medical doctor, hey doc, this, I noticed this pain or whatever happened last week. It started right here, so they can get to the bottom of maybe, your problem. Okay.
And I'll just add really quickly. So yeah, we were talking a little bit about water soluble vitamins.
Mhm.
So things like vitamin D, E, K, and A. I said them out of order, but those are the fat soluble vitamins. So you will have some of those in a multivitamin, but those, again, not to the point where it would be toxic. But if you were to really try and make sure that you weren't being toxic, those would be the ones that you definitely want to get tested for ahead of time. I will say vitamin D and A, especially deficiencies, are very prevalent in a lot of the conditions that I did just mention. Also autoimmune conditions and other issues. So those are definitely great ones to get tested for. But again, you probably won't, you'll be fine if you're only taking the multivitamin, you should be okay.
Okay.
High quality multivitamin.
Okay. High quality. Yeah. Does that high quality mean that it was science tested or by a third party? When you say
yeah, it generally does that. Usually they'll also use food derived substances versus actual chemicals. So a lot of times when we just run and get any multivitamin, it's highly chemicalized. So you're actually making yourself more toxic than you already were to begin with. So we're not trying to make you go spend extra money, although sometimes it does call for that, but definitely you want to make sure the quality of what you're putting in your body is appropriate for what you're trying to achieve. So
right. Yeah, not fillers, no fillers. We don't want the vitamin fillers. Yeah. Awesome. So you said most people are vitamin D and A deficient. We know vitamin D, a lot of folks have been tested and they're vitamin D deficient. I know I've been vitamin D deficient, and depending on where you live around the hemisphere,
yeah.
Even if you live in a state like Texas, where it can be super hot, you still can be vitamin D deficient because we're not getting proper amount of sun to our body, or it's not, our body is not receiving the sunlight, the natural light from the sun,
Right.
you know, for whatever reason. We don't know, right? It's kind of a mystery.
Yeah, and that's actually vitamin D deficiency is more prevalent in African Americans because of the melanin in our skin. I think it more so blocks, vitamin D absorption. And then I think with the virtual environment, even though I know COVID is over, I guess so to speak, we're still doing a lot of things inside, and we have to make sure that we make it a priority to get outside. In addition, though, if we've already been deficient, again, getting your levels tested and making sure that you do supplement with something that's really high quality will help as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I share with my listeners, get outside. You can do exercises inside, but get outside. That's the best way. Take a walk, right? Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you. This is so good. So we talked about detoxification, what it is. We talked about why it's important to detoxify. We also talked about what health issues are associated with toxic overload. And I just want to say this really quickly. Oftentimes we don't realize even not just our food, our environment, but our circle of influence can be toxic. Meaning that the people that you're hanging with, whether it's family, friends, or neighbors, because we might listen to certain people complain on a regular basis all the time, and subconsciously we are taking that in our mind, right? And so we're trying to process that. How can we help them? Or I'm sick, so after a long period of time, then it starts to wreak havoc on our own body, our mind, right? And so I just wanted to mention that so the listeners can understand that that is very toxic to be in whoever is in your circle of influence. You want to be sure that you're very careful who you let in or who you hang out with, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just thought I'd drop that in. We talked about the phases of detoxification. Phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1 is what? Cruciferous vegetables and B vitamins, right? We want to make sure that we get our broccoli. We want even, broccoli, our cabbage.
Yep.
Those
cauliflower. Those are we hadn't mentioned those yet, but yeah, those all are cruciferous vegetables.
Yeah, and listeners, viewers, if you don't understand what cruciferous vegetables are, which ones those are, look those up. And it will give you a list of what the cruciferous vegetables are. B vitamins, you want to make sure that you're getting your B vitamins, including B12, because B12 is super, ladies, we need B12, all our B vitamins. I like to say, when you're eating, eat intentional. Make sure that you're eating foods from A to Z, A to Z, apples, A, Z, zinc, right? And
zucchini. Huh? I was thinking of a food. Yeah, zucchini also starts with
zucchini. Yeah, zucchini. Everything in between. There are so many different types of fruits that we've never heard of, right? I have a whole list of different types of fruits, and I promise you, it almost goes from A to Z. And so we need to make sure that we are intentional when we're eating. We want good tasting food, and we also want nutrient dense food, meaning that it's going to support our immune system. And how do we get energy? From eating, right? We're not supposed to, if we're eating food and it's making us lethargic, we didn't eat something right. We didn't eat the right food, or we have an allergy to something. So we need to pay attention. Start a food diary. Get your diary out and make a note of what took place after you ate a certain fruit, right? Or a certain vegetable, or a certain whatever it is that you're eating. Nuts, and so yes, I want to drop that in. Phase 2 for detoxification, make sure that you are getting your amino acids, your sulfurs, your folates, your milk thistles, which is good. And you can drink your tea I know they have supplements, but I prefer to get tea. If you can do tea, do your tea. Glutathione, I've heard about that in all of the conferences that I've gone to, the nutritional conferences, the nutrition conference, I've heard about that. Your fiber and your water. Fiber and water is what move these toxins out of your body and into the toilet.
Where we want them.
Yeah, get these things going, because I'm gonna tell you, me personally, I can tell when my toxins have built up. You know how I can tell? My mood is altered, or I'll get a headache. Right when once I remove those toxins, everything is fine. My mood is better, headache is gone. So, I don't know how you feel, the other person, but notice your body. Pay attention to your body and what happens when you eat, when you don't eat the right foods and things like that. So that's phase 2. Yes, phase 3 was water and fiber, to move this stuff out. So, but you want to eat your fiber and you want to have your water in all 3 phases. But just know that there's 3 phases to detoxification. And Dr. Sonya, how long would you say a person should detox for? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Or does it depend, or is there a time period? I mean, I know we should be doing it every day, but for somebody that really wants to get started, should they start give themselves 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
It can really vary, kind of like you were mentioning, bio-individuality, depending on how toxic the person is and what they're dealing with. Sometimes you have to do detoxification a little bit more slowly because, the person has other issues that need to be considered. Usually detoxification occurs anywhere from about a week to about 3 to 4 weeks. And you want to do it about 2 to 3 times per year. Just because, again, even when we try as hard as we can, and we definitely still want to try, but we're still going to be, encountering toxins every single day. So yeah, 2 to 3 times a year would be best. And like I said, a week up to 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, great. Thank you. So can you tell the listeners how they will feel? How will they know when their body is detoxing?
It kind of depends on that as well. Sometimes in the beginning phases, depending on, all of the phases of detoxification kind of occur in terms of what you do and the foods that you eat simultaneously. So you're supporting all of them at the same time. You wouldn't want to say, okay, phase 1 today, phase 2 today, phase 3 today. But ultimately, I guess, pretty much people will want to make sure that they're just consuming a diet that's low in toxins anyway, and just trying to do that in general. But then as you're going through that specific detoxification, you want to make sure that you're taking out processed foods, removing a lot of the added sugars, the inflammatory processed fats, things of that nature. Also making sure if you're eating a lot of refined carbohydrates right now, you want to go to whole grains or other types of carbohydrates that are complex carbohydrates. Those are really, really beneficial. And as we mentioned, keeping fiber throughout the diet, keeping water as well with hydration.
And I know that the listeners probably, heard no processed food, no GMOs, but some of them don't understand GMOs, not non-genetically modified foods. And then what was the other one I just said? What was the other one I just said?
Did you say organic?
Oh, processed.
Oh, processed. Okay.
Some of the listeners don't understand what processed foods are. Well, you and I do. Most of us that's in the holistic health and wellness space, we know what processed foods are, which are packaged foods, anything that's packaged or canned is pretty much processed, because they have to put and I'll let you, clean that up for me. But the way I see it is anything that's in a bag, in a can or a box is pretty much processed, because they have to put something in there to sustain the shelf life, right?
Very true.
So anything that you grow in your garden, that's not processed because it's growing naturally. Anything that you get from your local grocery store, any produce, any fruit, that's not processed. Unless it is a conventional fruit where they put spray, on it to sustain the beautiful color of an apple, make it shiny and pretty, or whatever that fruit is, right? So, but I'm gonna elaborate on that if you have something to add to that.
Well, one easy way to avoid GMOs is just to, do organic produce. Because then you don't have to really even worry about it. There are specific codes that they, put on the produce, but you don't even have to worry about all that. Just get organic.
Yeah.
And then I've heard an easy way to know if something is processed or not in terms of where it is in the grocery store is things on the outer perimeter of the grocery store. Again, your produce, maybe your, meats, things like that. Obviously, we did talk about quality with meats as well, but those are things that are usually a lot less processed. Again, when Renee was mentioning things that are in a package, things that are shelf stable, yeah, they're having to add preservatives and other additives in order to keep it, having that shelf life, but also to keep it tasting good. There's also, I don't want to go into the sodium aspect, but usually a lot of processed foods either have sodium that's through the roof or sugar that's through the roof. So, yeah, sometimes it's hard to avoid having any processed foods, but especially when you're on a detox regimen, it's great to eliminate them completely. And then in your everyday life, really try to focus on the produce and the meats, not the other processed foods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even actually just one quick thing, and I know I'm probably contradicting some other dietitians' views, but even things like cereal, they're a staple in American culture. But there is actually a lot of very harsh processing that it takes to get the grains into those shapes that we love and those tastes that we love with all the sugar and to keeping them shelf stable. And then they also add a lot of chemical fortification as well. So it can be something that could contribute drastically to a toxic load. So it's definitely something to consider eliminating if you can.
And what's an example of one of the favorite? Well, we know stuff like cornflakes and cereals like that, but how about these healthy grain cereals, that, or some that says no grains, or granola that's supposed to be healthy for you?
So me personally, I actually do like the grain-free granola. Now there are some that have, a lot more sugar in them. So definitely want to check the labels and be cognizant of that, keeping to one that's lower sugar. Mm-hmm. For a lot of people, grains can be inflammatory. Not everyone, but just a person who's just trying to clean up their diet. I would probably still steer them away from just getting shelf-stable cereals.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something, get some oats and, some organic oats that, you can, especially steel cut, that you can kind of cook yourself. Anytime you're having a shelf stable grain that's been processed and flattened and all of that, they're usually using, lots of additives to keep it that way. And it's hard for your body to digest and process.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. This is a lot of good information, Dr. Crawford. And I know our time is getting close, but I am so grateful and so thankful to have you come on as my first guest. And this was amazing and so informative. And I hope that the viewers took notes, copious notes, so they can, and also they'll have a chance to come back and rewatch the video and, over and over and over. But I want to ask you if you had anything where you have, I'm sure, a lot to say, but what would you like to leave your listeners or the listeners with?
I'll say, I know we kind of reiterated the importance of working with a professional who can assess your individual situation. That would be one thing. I think a lot of people have kind of a resistance to changing their diets or, learning more about how they can positively affect their health through changing their diet. Some of that is expense-wise. I know a lot of things have gone up in price as well, but I will say we only have one life. And so, definitely there's ways that we pamper ourselves or spend extra money in other ways. And what better way to do that is to even, make sure that our nutrition and the things that we expose ourselves to, when possible, are as clean as possible, and, that we're honoring ourselves through that. I am a Christian. I definitely know that there's a lot of Christians who, who believe that God will heal us, and I believe in that as well. But I also believe that we have a role in that. And so I believe God gives us the tools and the knowledge that we need, whether it be through us getting our own education or through connecting with other people and getting someone to help us to identify what our needs are. So that's just what I would leave everyone with, is that, definitely God has given us the tools, and you don't have to do everything all at once, but just taking small steps over time can really produce a lot of benefit.
Absolutely. So the bottom line is, what I like to say, we all have an IRA, an individual retirement account, but I say to you, listener, is to invest in an IRAH, an individual retirement account for your health. We invest in everything else. We invest in clothes, shoes, cars, homes. We can't use any of that if our health is declining, right? So do yourself a favor and invest in your health, however that looks, whether that means buying organic, going from conventional to organic foods, whether that means investing in a wellness coach or a holistic practitioner, whatever that looks like to you. Start investing in you today, not tomorrow, because we know tomorrow's not promised. And like Dr. Crawford said, we are Christians, and we believe that God gave us everything we need to heal our bodies. He gave it to us in the beginning. He created this earth before we were even on here, because he knew before he created us that he wanted to create everything so we can have to consume to heal the bodies that he created. So he admonished us to take care of these bodies that belong to him, right? So we just want you to feel better. We want you out of this chronic pain and suffering. Get off of this roller coaster ride of chronic pain and suffering, because it doesn't feel good. I've been there, and I know how it feels to be in excruciating pain. Days I didn't want to get out of bed. Days I thought I couldn't get out of bed, right? So God, in his infinite wisdom and infinite grace, had mercy on me and allowed me to turn that around, turn my mindset around, get up and go. And I've been going ever since. So we want you to be healthy and whole. And only way you're going to do that is change your mindset first. You have to be willing to say yes to a healthy lifestyle. And whether you invest with someone else or us, we want you to live an awesome life. And so with that, I'm going to say, if people want to get in touch with you, Dr. Crawford, how can they do that? If someone wants to talk to you or someone wants to work with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, right now I'm actually starting back to seeing clients again, and I do have a 21-day free health challenge that anyone can sign up for. So I'll make sure you have the information to give to the viewers. And yeah, so that would be the best way. Or you can also connect with me just through putting something on my calendar. I can do a 15-minute, quick consultation with you for free and talk to you about options for working with me if you'd like to.
Awesome. So I will get that to you all in the show notes or the description on the channel. And it's been such a pleasure, Dr. Crawford. And I was so
me as well.
Yeah, and it's so good to see you look beautiful as ever. And that's that healthy, that's that nutrition.
Toxin-free makeup, or very minimal anyway.
But it's all healthy. It's no chemicals. That's the thing. Yeah, it's no chemicals. And so anyway, again, thank you. And we will do this again. We will come back with another segment of something else. And let's see. I will say to you viewers again, if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Also, check the notification bell so you'll be notified when new videos are available for you. And check out the comments below. If you need to get in touch with me, go to theholisticboss.com and schedule your 30-minute wellness discovery session with me as well. And I'd love to talk to you to get you set up on your journey towards optimal health and well-being. You can also, let's see, I have a free habit tracker where you can, it's in the comment section below or description below, and you can grab your free habit tracker where you can begin tracking your daily habits. That's a good start. It's free, ladies. Let's get started today, not tomorrow, but today. All right. All right. Leave comments below. Let us know how you enjoyed this first segment to what I will be starting as my podcast, my 7 Daily Habits podcast for women over 40. So leave us a comment, please. Let us know what else you would like to hear or learn. And I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right. Take care. Anything else, Dr. Crawford?
No, I think you said it beautifully. Yeah, thanks again for inviting me. And yeah, I hope the listeners were able to get some healthy tips that can help them in their daily lives.
Oh, I got some healthy tips. If they didn't, I got them. All right. Take care. Thank you so much again. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.